Shipping the car turned out to be super stressful. I spent hours on the phone talking to different companies, trying to get a price and figure out whether or not they were going to rip us off. That's a container. It's $1,100.
Our saving grace came rather unexpectedly in the form of a political artist named Shiki. She turned out to be super Shiki as she helped us ship our car. Shiki never seemed to sleep, powered by coffee, art, cigarettes, and gum. She showed us the side of Panama only a true Panamanian could.
Mi nombre es Janetcita y vivo en Panamá. La vida aquí es tranquila, barata y está lleno de colores.
Voy a andar una cooperación, señor. No sean malos. Para la leche y los pampers de mi baby.
¿Para la leche y los pampers? ¿Cuántos hijos tiene?
Uno.
¿Uno nada más?
Y falta la leche. Ahora mismo está manteniéndose con agua.
Mi pasión es vivir. Vivir, vivir, vivir. Porque nos podemos morir así. Diseñar me hace muy, muy, muy feliz. Porque no me veo a mí como que yo estoy diseñando, sino yo veo como si fuera otra persona. Porque ni yo sé a veces qué yo misma puedo hacer. Entonces siempre estoy curiosa de ver qué va a pasar en el próximo capítulo. Y todo lo que yo diseño en realidad está pasando, porque esa es mi realidad. Este es Oh My Dad. Oh My Dad, hola. El 20 de diciembre de 1989, el gobierno de Estados Unidos invadió la ciudad de Panamá con el pretexto de sacar a Noriega, a una sola persona de todo el país, y destruyeron la ciudad. Y eso casi nadie lo sabe en Estados Unidos. Y ustedes no lo tienen que saber. Si me está viendo ahora un americano, ustedes no lo tienen que saber, porque ese es lo que pretende el país, Estados Unidos. Él pretende que ustedes nunca se enteren de eso. Así que lo han hecho muy bien, han escondido muy bien el secreto. Así como han hecho injusticias con Panamá, como han hecho injusticias con muchos otros países débiles. Y ese fue el día que cambió la vida para mucha gente. Cuando regresé a Panamá de nuevo, cumplí 14 años y empecé a trabajar. Bueno, yo escribía chistes, protesta social, como bien sarcástico, humor bien crudo, de todo el gobierno. Ese era el medio con que yo me podía expresar y ganar dinero. Pero gracias a Dios siempre fui bien creativa, ¿ves? Y eso me ayudó, o sea, la invasión me ayudó a mí en realidad a desarrollar mi creatividad.
Entonces, como ellos vinieron en Navidad, cuando se apareció el gringo en la casa de la Yola, además dije, ¡güey! Justo lo que yo pedí para Navidad, un gringo, para mi green card.
El viajar me ha enseñado sobre mí. No necesitas nada para ser feliz, solo te necesitas llevar a ti. Siempre es bueno viajar con uno nunca está solo. Y cada vez que yo me fui solita al cine, no, te vas contigo. Yo siempre estoy conmigo, yo me caigo bien. Hay veces que peleamos, pero yo me caigo bien.
We entered South America by air, as our goal was not to conquer the Great Divide by machine, but simply move on down the road.
Landing in Quito was one of the most spectacular sights I've ever seen. The plane drops down between these snow-covered peaks that seem as though you could reach out and touch. To make up for lost time, we shipped the car to Ecuador and completely bypassed Colombia. I'm glad to have moved on to the new frontier of South America.
We headed directly to Esmeraldas by bus from Quito, where we hoped to reunite with our Land Cruiser. Our shipper in Panama had promised a trouble-free entrance into South America. Everything seemed to be going great. Our car had made it. The process seemed painless until we were asked to present a carnet, a passport for the car that we didn't have. Huh?
Good morning. We're currently waiting for customs so that we can get our car into Ecuador. 2 weeks in customs and a $2,500 personal check written to ensure we wouldn't sell the vehicle while in the country, and finally they let us in. We loaded up our gear and hightailed it to the border to cancel the check.
Aside from all the hassles getting the car into the country, our time spent in Esmeraldas actually turned out to be pretty good. We met 2 Ecuadorian kids who shared their surfboards and took us surfing, and eventually drove with us halfway to Lima. Meet los chavalitos, Carlitos y Watusa.
Hola, soy Carlos Eduardo Mera. Mi nombre es Juan Eduardo Ramírez, tengo 21 años y vivo en la ciudad de Esmeraldas. La vida en Esmeraldas es algo dura, existe mucha pobreza. Hay muchos problemas con la corrupción, hay mucha contaminación de refinería. pero es una ciudad que está saliendo adelante. El surf en Esmeraldas es un deporte nuevo, tiene unos 10 o más de años, pero era un nivel demasiado bajo. Más practican los que tenían más o menos dinero, surfean bastante, pero no hay muy nivel. Por el momento, mi inspiración, un proyecto que tengo en el futuro es conocer otros países, conocer otros lugares, ver otras culturas, otra gente, aprender algo nuevo. Y conocer más a fondo lo que es toda la costa y conocer nuevos surfistas. El primer problema del mundo que hay es la guerra. La gente no comprende que con violencia no llega a nada. Pero y el segundo es una contaminación muy alta. Puede haber muchos fenómenos naturales y destruir más que una guerra. La gente no comprende mucho lo que debe hacer por su país. Más vale por el mundo. En el mundo no debería existir ni americanos, ni europeos, ni nada, ni africanos. Todos tenemos que ser iguales. Todos somos una raza misma, porque el rato que nosotros nos fallecemos, tenemos todo por adentro igual. Dice americanos para nosotros. Americanos es un continente nomás, nada más.
With our new Ecuadorian friends packed into the back of the cruiser, we headed out from Esmeraldas.
We're in the southern hemisphere now, past the equator.
And finally into the country of Peru. 20 kilometers from the Peruvian border, it's raining hard, and we're surrounded by jungle and banana plantations. We cross into Peru, and the train shifts from jungle to desert in literally a matter of 40 kilometers. The climate turns from hot and humid to hotter and dry. The sun blazes, and vegetation suddenly stops. There are no signs of life, other than the passing town or the passing Peruvian.
We leave the Chavalitos in some dusty town 400 kilometers from the border of Ecuador, where they wait for a bus to take them home. This is the furthest they have ever been from Esmeraldas. We continued south to Lima to rendezvous with a friend named Ziad, who has come to join us to surf in southern Peru and northern Chile.
Ziad has this weird knack for finding good surf. The waves have been tiny since Panama, and like clockwork, he shows up and all of a sudden the waves are pumping. He also brings memories of home, and now, deep in the desert, I find myself thinking more and more of what awaits me upon my return. It's becoming harder to focus on the moment as we close in on the end of the journey.
Moving on into Chile, we were closing in on our final destination of the Tierra del Fuego, but we still had to cross the Atacama Desert. No recorded rainfall, no shade, it's windy, dusty, and 200 kilometers between gas stations. It's the last place on earth you'd want your car to break down. The cruiser had been a champ, not one major problem since leaving Alaska. The mechanic who changed our oil in Anchorage laughed when we told him we were going to Seattle. If only he could see us now, in Chile.
We'd prepared well for the trip, hoping that it would carry us through the most desolate spots, and if we did have car trouble, it would happen somewhere it could be dealt with. It must have been our destiny that the car would break down in the worst imaginable place.
Transmission's out of oil, because we blew a seal, and we're in the middle of nowhere, which translates to 180 kilometers from the nearest town.
Third stop has concluded that the bolt has come out of the transmission housing, which has enabled oil to leak out at a rapid pace, and every 100 kilometers we need to stop and refill with oil that just keeps going out. George Bush would be proud. But no, we're going to plug the hole with the bolt and no longer leak oil.
How is that bolt gonna fit?
Oh, it's not. The bolt is too small.
Now what's happening?
Now we're fixing the differential.
Third day under the car.
How are you feeling?
I feel dirty. I'm over it. Yesterday the transmission started spewing oil. We can't pump it in as fast as it leaks out. This morning, the power steering went out. The rusted out floorboards pump in dust faster than it escapes through the windows. The cruiser is literally disintegrating. Ziad's got to get on a plane in Santiago in 2 weeks, and if we even make it that far, I'm close to throwing in the towel and going home with him. This is brutal.
For a moment, it seemed like the best solution was to sell our Land Cruiser and hop on a nice air-conditioned bus to Santiago and go home.
So we were driving the other day and the car broke down. We got a hole in the transmission. At the same time, the nut that holds the differential together fell off, so the differential fell apart. We got the differential back together and plugged the whole transmission, glued a bolt in there, and strapped it on with the NRS strap. Now we're driving down the road again.